introduce, if you're in kindergarten, you're supposed to know your ABCs or know the phonics, or there's expectations in each grade level, and so kids were not meeting those expectations, and teachers thought there's some learning disabilities, and they were meeting and talking about the students' progress, and nobody from the students' culture was at that table representing that student, telling them, no, this is normal. Majority of the kids are like this, and when majority of the boys were referred for hyperactive ADHD, which is attention deficit and hypertension. But that's majority of Pacific Islander boys. Boys run wild. They're very, very active. They just shout whatever they feel like it. And so the teachers saw that as, they have ADHD. We need to put them on medication. And I came in like, something like was flashing red, raising red flag. This is wrong. This is so. There was a colleague of mine that sent me, he's also in education, and he said, hey, you need to go, and there's this listening session at this university. You need to go and sit in the listening session and share your frustrations and all the things that you're experiencing. And I went, and I didn't know. I was like, okay. So I went there, and it was the Asian Pacific American Network of Oregon, short, they're called APANO. And so they're nonprofit as well, but they're also like CANN. They go to the Capitol building and talk about issues that Asian and Pacific Islander communities face in the state of Oregon. But the listening session was about education. And so I'm like, this is right up my alley. I can talk about education. And I started, because the listening sessions, there were folks from the university level, K-12 level, and preschool level, and so I came in and I felt like this is where I belong, and so I brought all the issues, and they invited me. I have to understand, I'm coming from the island, I didn't really understand the systems here then. And so when I started talking with the APANO group, I realized that, hey, this is where I can go and get trainings on how to, talk about the issues that the students are facing without having to like point fingers, because I sort of realized that these were the teachers. They're good at what they do, teaching kids, but they didn't know the students' culture. They didn't connect with the students' culture or their background. And so they didn't know what they were doing sort of in terms of culture. And so fast forward, as David has been involved with Oregon Marshallese community, and so we started working together because of all the, like the driver's license bill, when we needed people, because I had connection with the parents in the community, I would call the parents and we would, work together to bring our communities to the legislature so that the legislature can see that, oh my gosh, there are folks here and there are many of them. And so my point in bringing this up is, even if you don't understand the systems that in the areas that you live in, for example, you come to the States, or even back home in your island, in the islands, I would recommend just get involved, volunteer if you can. I know we don't do a lot of volunteers back home. What we do is really volunteer. You take care of your cousin, your little one, that's volunteer, but that's family, that's different. I started noticing the issues with the students that I work with and decided, you know what? Maybe this is where I need to go, is to be involved in my community and then be involved in politics. And so today, here I am in education and in politics. Not that I like it, but it's something that I have to do, and I'm very passionate about it. And so it's, even if you're living in the island, what you do back home also affects your life later on. And so you just keep what you love to do. If it's something around social justice or or education or whatever it is it that you do, you know, you put all your effort in it, and someday you never know. It's really going to be beneficial to you, your family, your community, your country. Anyway, that's.
Cann's new treasurer. And she's very good, better than the old one.
Any questions for me?
This is CANN, and I'm just, I see the plan and I read the statement before you came in. And I'm just having a question in my mind. I don't see Palau and Kashai and yeah, but I can see Palau in the board as board members. Where are they? And how do we connect with those in Palau? What is the connection?
I can, oh, sorry. So with CANN, so our officers, for CANN, Joe Enlet, who's our, FSM Consul General, he's our president. The vice president is, Beanie Moses. She's the director for Multicultural Center at the Eastern Oregon University. So she's over in LeGrand. Joe is in Portland. And then Perry Samwer, is that his last name?
Right.
He's our secretary, and he's also in Portland. And then I'm the treasurer. I'm here. I'm the only one here. And CANN contracted David to work, like do our legwork, especially with the dental bill. And David is in Washington. Lloyd, who's a board member, is in Corvallis, so we're all like spread out. Because I'm here and I can be here, but the other members would have been here. And we're all like spread thin. We're doing other things as well, and so we really try to accommodate folks like your group, so that we're here. But we do meet by phone conferences, and so whenever we have, you know, events that concern all Pacific Islanders, we do get together and try to, like for example, Beanie will mobilize the Palauan communities in Oregon. Joe and Perry will mobilize the Chukis community in Oregon. And then we're also, and we have board members that are also from Pohnpei. I think because there's very little, the population of Yap and Kasrai are smaller than Pohnpeians, Chukis, Marshallese. Those populations are larger. We get more folks representing those islands, but places like Kasrai and Yap, they're smaller populations here. So we do try and outreach to other folks from those communities so that we're all represented when we go to the legislature. There's one gal that works at Chemeketa Community College. She's from she is associated with the Palauan community and the Yapese community. So that's sort of like our connection to those communities. And we also have a board member. She's Palauan. She's in Hawaii, but she's given names, other Pohnpeians, to CANN so that we can reach out to them so that we also have that representation in CANN.
And in the future, we're planning on expanding to a national organization, and we'll probably have representation at that from other states such as Arkansas, Texas, Washington, and perhaps Arizona and Utah. The COFA people there. I have a question for all of you. Are you enjoying your trip to Oregon?
Yeah.
Yeah? And are you learning a lot at the Mark Hatfield Center? Okay, good. Well, I knew Mark Hatfield, and he was one of my favorite senators. And
there's a couple more board members we have to name, Kiana Angelo and David Bernard, also from Marshall and Chuk.
and our newest board member.
More questions.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see if there's other questions from folks here. Yeah.
Everyone's working on a project, and at the end of this program, we'll sort of complete with their individual projects. And so one thing that we're talking a lot about is communication with the government. Can you give sort of the most important lessons to learn and the best strategies in interacting with the government via advocacy, but also strategies?
Yeah, I think I'll take a shot and then you guys can fill it in. But everybody say hello first to the video. You're being watched by folks back home and folks here locally. All right, thank you for watching.